What is up, folks? Welcome back to another live stream repair. Let's see, we had like 10 more show up today, but we're gonna knock out the few that we didn't get through yesterday. That would be first up here. We've got a black space gray refurbished HomePod that'll be going out to Adam here very soon. We're gonna get this one fixed up for him and put together in the nicest looking parts that we've got. And then let's see, we've got G-Pod, as they like to be called, with a brick. And then we've got DC 236 with some bad filters and some sort of bass issues. We've got Lummox with no sound. That'll be an interesting one. Jody, also with death farts slash DC filters slash bass issues slash whatever you'd like to call it. And then Alan with also those DC filters. And I'd like to have time to maybe take a look at Jordan's here. They had to send it back after its logic board bricked itself. So, alright, here we go. We're going to start with Adam's here. No lights, no power, a couple of watts from the wall. This is not, despite it looking like the exact same no power dead diode issue that we usually fix here. Let me show you. I'm going to unplug this and wait a few seconds. We'll see if it reproduces the issue here. And when I plug it back in, you see it actually turn on for a few seconds. And you notice how that boot animation, that white spinning light, it abruptly turned off. It didn't softly fade away as it normally does when it finishes booting. That means that something is perhaps shorting out. Maybe there's some physical damage somewhere. Maybe there could be a lot of different things that cause this kind of behavior in particular. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this apart because I, at the very least, need the logic board that's in here. Chances are the logic board is still fine. So worst case, if we can't figure out and fix whatever's going on with this one, then we can take this logic board and refurbish and send them this one. In any case, this is the mesh that they're going to be getting because it's in such great shape. This one's okay, but there's a scuff here, and I mean, I've got enough nice ones, nicer ones sitting around. I'd like to send people that buy the refurbs the nicest examples I've got. That is, of course, unless somebody's going to be sticking it in their next to their kitchen stove or in the garage, in which case, let me know. I'll send you one that's not the prettiest. Something more like this, where it won't be perfect. But anyways, enough rambling. Let's see if we can't at least identify which major component is causing this behavior. I suspect it's going to be an amplifier issue. Just because I feel like I've come across an amp or two in the past that has behaved just like this. Unfortunately, I never figured it out. I'm pretty sure that amp board is hanging up somewhere in my pile of boards to figure out one day, but I've only got so much time to mess around with spare issues these days, with how many HomePods we've got to fix on a daily basis to stay caught up, and then all the emails and text messages that we get from people, and then not to mention the day job, the stuff that actually pays the rent and keeps the lights on and the food on the table. this is just a side project. Granted, we've got a business license, we run things right here, we pay our taxes, but it is something that I have to squeeze into the free time that we've got around here. And well, that's partly how we can charge such a good price to fix these up. At least for now, still, my time is not that expensive. I can't charge any less without going insane. It not being I can't say not worth my time, but depending on how you look at it, yeah, it wouldn't be worth my time to charge less. Just because we get too much, I imagine we get way more in, and I simply wouldn't have the time to fix them all. Let's see. Everything looks okay here. That is probably a perfectly fine logic board. Let's find out. I do notice, despite how well this was packed, it did suffer a bit of drop damage and broke some of that frame there. That's cool. I always love to see it, especially from the ones that I bought for myself from someone else. Who knows how it was treated before it got to us. It might have happened before we got it. Well,
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Okay, so it is the logic board. It's unfortunately the one part that I really needed out of this. Shoot. Oh, actually, it could be the display. Yep. As a matter of fact, this is the original display. I didn't realize that I tried a different display too. If we look up close, and the broken frame on the top of the HomePod should have been another hint, but this is coming up. I can fit my tool under there and I should not be able to. So what happened was the HomePod was dropped on its head and it must have pushed this display in and done that number effectively. And yeah, you might cringe, but it was broken already. There was no saving this, unfortunately. So I'll show you what it looks like underneath. There we go. But, excuse me, to prove my theory, we should be able to then take that logic board, take my new display, stick it in there, and make sure that this logic board works. You know, and chances are when I bought this HomePod, this was the only problem. The only thing actually wrong with it was it got dropped and busted up this display here. And I guess for most people, they don't have a bunch of spare HomePod parts sitting around. But to me, a replacement display like this, that's no big deal. These logic boards and the amplifiers and the subwoofers, I care more about than these displays, to be frank. Yes, okay.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. For more info.
I'm not throwing that old display away, of course. I keep all of this stuff for parts and various components that people may need. You never know what someone might need. They might just need a little piece off of something here and there. No sense throwing the whole thing away. Especially when it's when it costs so much to do the thing. Alright, I'm gonna swap that out. I don't trust it since it was dropped that hard and it broke the display. And, you know, we've already got a good nice mesh on this one. Let's take a peek here and see if the rest of the parts in this speaker are good. Alright, no lights, no power, no nothing at all. And that is why I sit here and as soon as I plug in the power, I spam tap the top to check for that boot animation, because it may only show up for the first few seconds after it gets plugged in. And this is what we expect to see around here. That is the usual dead diode. So, perfect candidate for us to fix up and send off to Adam. I'm gonna grab some of my isopropyl alcohol and stick that in between the subwoofer and the speaker basket and swirl it around. That's gonna break the glue that holds this this basket down when we go to pry it up in a few minutes. Hopefully that alcohol will soften up that glue and make it easy to pull up. But first we have to take the 9 screws holding it down. And now we can pry it up. And that sound is that glue. It's not the plastic usually. Who do we have with us today? Looks like we got a couple of people. Do we have Joseph the Lurker by chance? Subwoofer looks and smells to be in great shape. Oh, I almost forgot. There was somebody... hold on, I got a few text messages here. I was gonna text somebody the link to our stream as soon as we started. Yes, I found him. Okay. Better late than never. If you want a funny long joke to read, look up Better Nate Than Lever on Google. There we go. Okay. All is well with the world. Let's carry on. I thought about calling you out yesterday too, Joseph, but I figured I'd let you lurk in peace for once. Let's see, who else might be lurking? I'm expecting Mike to drop by. Oh no, lost a screw. It's okay, I got plenty more. Alright, up close. Oh, I forgot my soldering iron. Hold on. Okay. Oh man, this thing is great because it fits in my iFixit kit. I found a spot for it. And I just throw it in my backpack when I go into the office. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's get that turned on. DC low. Get out of here. There we go. I just had to negotiate the 20 volts. We're cooking. As my mom would say, cooking with Crisco. Here we go. Filters first. These are what tend to go bad over time and what have gone bad, and a few of these other HomePods we'll be fixing today. But since they are ceramic capacitors, they're all going to go bad eventually in all of these HomePods and need to be replaced. I have a feeling a lot of the ones that we're failing now are a little premature, but in any case we'll get them replaced with ones that should at least far outlast the originals, if not outlast the rest of the HomePod here. So we got the old ones off. I'm going to put some flux down on the board. Flux is pretty critical in removing the corrosion that pretty much instantly builds up as soon as those pads and solder are exposed to oxygen in the atmosphere. So flux removes that corrosion along with a little bit of heat from the soldering iron. Gives us a nice true alloy bond, like an interlocked hand holding instead of just normal hand holding. Interlock those fingers. That's one of my favorites. We don't want these popping off the board, shaking loose, what have you. And don't trust the flux that's built into your solder. Get yourself a dedicated tube of flux to squeeze onto your stuff as you're working. Fantastic. We'll flip it around. We'll take care of that dead diode. 46K or 48K, let's see here. That is a 6K. Flux doesn't help anything to remove components, but I'm going to put a little bit on the board now so I don't have to when we go to put the new one on. Alan, what is up? Welcome, welcome. Didn't even realize I stuck you near the end there, but hey, you did say you wanted to watch them. All right, all right. Let's get this back together. Jason, Big Mike, welcome back, folks. Welcome back. Ooh, things are busy this evening. Yes. Had to go into the office today. And then, we had Jimmy John's for lunch. So I said no thanks and headed home. Finished up work from home. And then packed and shipped as many HomePods out today as I possibly could. Unfortunately, I couldn't get them all out, but thankfully, y'all are like the best people to work for, so people tend to understand and be totally cool with it taking it an extra day or so for me to drop stuff off. Gosh, I was hoping things would maybe slow down a little bit by now, but we're still getting like 10 a day, give or take. The only way we're keeping up right now is by doing a few not on stream that people were, there's always people out there adamant that they don't want it streamed no matter how anonymous you make it. And I get that. And thankfully, we get a few of those so I can fix them without having to dedicate the whole time slot for it.
Sorry about
that.
I'm sorry. That long cable, the USB-C cable that was in the living room, do you know where it went? Oh, you're using it?
Yeah, I'll have to buy some more. Actually, I'll buy another one today.
Okay.
Because this one's only 100 watts.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just trying to charge Ev when she was using it, so.
Would USB A to C work?
Yeah, anything that
There's this one.
is long that I can have her. Oh, that's not long enough. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's my only USB-C cable that long. Actually, it's not the length necessarily, it's the wattage that I needed. Oh shoot, you know what I can do instead? Is it dead? Alright. Yeah, obviously, time is very limited around here, so we gotta make do with what we've got. Steezy, what is up? Everyone's weird. I'm weird. You're weird. I won't question it. Because, sometimes it might, and like sometimes what might seem weird to us might have a perfectly logical reason that they just, they don't have to share with us. So I'm not gonna poke anyone that doesn't want to provide the info. Ooh, like, I actually made a similar comment to my wife the other day. I was like, it's kind of wild that there are so many people that do not want me to stream it at all. Even if there's no, even if I make it completely anonymous. And she was like, yep, there are people out there that are so freaked out, like from previous experience or trauma or whatever. They've got stalkers or,
I figured out.
Yeah?
I just moved the extension cord closer.
Nice. Yeah, I'd rather be all sorts of this kind of busy than all sorts of the kind of busy I've been in my life. All right. This one is for Adam.
I'm having trouble connecting to the.
We'll make sure this
I'm
is
having trouble
all
connecting.
reset and updated form before we send it out, of course. All right. We've got HomePod up here now. Let's find their info. I can't find it. Oh, wait, 258. Here we go. Oh, actually, it's more like... HomePod. There we go. And then after this, we've got... Did you see that? It just boot looped. It flashed the volume buttons and then boot looped on us. Alright, so we've got DC 236 after this. Let's shoot them a link to watch. Alright, we are relatively caught up on the emails. That is, there it goes again, boot looping. Is it just getting faster? Nah, it seems like it's boot looping at about the same rate here. Okay, let's think for a sec. Let's get the dock out. Oh, that was really stuck on there. And let's see. Usually that kind of behavior is a hardware panic, not a software issue, but maybe, just maybe. I'm not going to bother screen sharing this one. Let's see. We will plug our power in. Try to pwn it. Try to reset it. And try to push the firmware to it. So this is our homemade 3D printable USB adapter for first gen HomePods. It's based on Tim Starr's design of the adapter. And we are using a combination of Tim Starr and David's scripts here. And iDevice Restore. Well, we use David and Tim Starr scripts to build an IPSW, and then we can use iDevice Restore to push that built firmware because there's no off-the-shelf restorable firmware provided by Apple for the first-gen HomePods. You have to download the OTA firmware, and then you have to download the corresponding restore firmware for the Apple TV 5,3. And then you merge those two together into one big ol' IPSW. Since the Apple TV 5.3 is the same chipset as the HomePod, more or less, this looks like it's successfully restoring. I am a little surprised. So I suppose I will put this down to the side and we will do a little bit of multitasking here. Yep, it's going. Yeah, I'll go ahead and screen share this so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Where's my mouse? Alright, if you promise not to tell anyone my password. Okay, so it is restoring the image now. It's already at 12%. Number 258. Alright, I'm gonna put my laptop down to the side. Hopefully we don't disturb that cable and kill the restore. Looking good. And I'm going to turn that screen share back off, because that could take 10, 15, 20 plus minutes. We're going to scoot that over to the side, and we're going to grab our next repair here. That would be DC 236. They have my power cable. That's okay, we'll use this one. Ooh! Wow. Okay, we're not gonna plug that back in. That was terrifying. That is a little worse than just some bad filters. Wow. Okay. I am not. That actually made me shake a little bit. Not too sure what could have gone wrong. Actually, I think I know. I'm expecting to see a giant hole burned into the main amplifier chip for that bass speaker. I wonder if the filters went bad and killed the main amp chip in here. Oh yes, and Jason, if you're curious about my dock and the restore software and how to do all of that yourself, go to my website and then go to the known issues section, expand the one for blinking volume buttons, and you will find links to the restore guide and the 3D files if you want to 3D print your own USB adapter. Excuse me. There it is. I knew the hiccups were coming. Oh, how stinky is this one gonna be? Oh, Canada, yeah? It's not terribly expensive to... It's not terribly expensive to ship stuff there if you can't get your own adapter put together. I sell pre-made ones too, so... But if you've already got a 3D printer, all you need are the pogo pins that I suggest in the GitHub repo for the adapter, and a USB cable. I would recommend not trying USB-C. Instead, do USB-A, and then get a USB-C adapter. People tend to have issues with USB-C, like directly wiring a USB-C cable to the first-gen HomePods, because USB-C requires an extra resistor across certain pins in order to identify itself as a USB device when you plug it into your computer. And a lot of people don't do that. Subwoofer. Ooh, it smells fine, but it has oof. The inside of this smells like rocket engines. Like on the 4th of July fireworks. Almost sulfuric. What could it be? Ooh, something let the magic smoke out, and then since it's sealed, it kept it trapped inside and made it real stinky. It made the stink stick. Okay, our USB restore on G-Pod here. Looks like it finished sending it. It's got a few more steps to go before we can get too excited. Ooh, that's real stinky. I'm sorry I keep saying it. It just keeps wafting up in like, oh, yeah, there it is. Ooh, boy. There's the main amp chip responsible for the bass speaker, and that is very much cooked. You can actually almost see next to it that some of the traces next to it are also cooked, so it's not really worth trying to fix this. We could maybe, and we might get lucky, but frankly, I do have enough parts around to not try to worry about that here and now, so we're gonna do just that. Let's see. Do I? That is okay. I've got another HomePod here we can use for an amp. Restore finished. Okay. We're going to harvest ourselves another amplifier board here. Let me just check here real quick. What the particular issue is with this one. No lights, no power, no nothing. Okay, so that one's probably another dead diode. Let's get ourselves in a good amp. Would you look at that? G-Pod is alive and well. Oh, that is just, the stuff in the dropper is just isopropyl alcohol. It breaks up the glue. When we go to pry this basket up in a second, it just makes it a lot easier. Ooh, and makes it squeak sometimes. Yep, it's this one's really glued down. Gotta love when they snap, crackle, and pop like that. Oh, a bit of a typo there on the screen. That's not 238. That is 236. So we've got 236's pod here. And we're getting an amplifier for it out of this one. In a second here, I'll put G-Pod away because they have a few options. So it took a USB restore. It seems to be working fine now, unless it fails while we're testing it. They have a few options. They can get it back with without us taking it apart, and pay for our time just to get it back to them. And let's see, that's I think it was $50 with shipping both ways. And if it happens again, I'll fix it up again. You know, you get a warranty on the same thing happening again. Or they could pay the extra $20 and we can take it apart and do the hardware maintenance to prevent other common issues like these base issues and this no power issue. Alright, I'm going to put this this other subwoofer to the side here because I have a feeling we're going to need it for another HomePod here today. All of this we can put away. You have served your purpose, parts pod. We'll put 236 back on the back on the stand. These hiccups are killing me. We'll get G-Pod out of the way here. And we will fix up this amplifier for number 236. All right. Need your beer. I'm all out of beer. It ain't cheap, but it is shipping. You're paying for shipping both ways, and my time, and plus if it bricks itself again, I'll take it back, and that's part of the warranty. And shipping each way is about 10 to 15 bucks. So I'm only making $20 to $30 on it, which, I mean, it is easy work. But that's why I try to encourage people to, I mean, of course, spend a little more money and have us take it apart while we have it and replace these other parts that cause other issues. Which, frankly, these other parts fail and cause more issues more often than I think pods have ever bricked themselves. I've only had one person ever send their HomePod in where it took a USB restore and they did not want any of the other hardware maintenance. Everybody else that sends theirs in already wants to just pay a little more and have us take it all the way apart and prevent things from happening. But I did have to price the, if I was going to offer a warranty on the software only fixes, I needed to charge enough so that I wouldn't lose money if I had to take it back and ship it back and forth again. I would like to charge a lot less. You know, I am basically just plugging a USB cable in and running a couple of commands. But for the people that are really looking to save money and time, that's why I shared all of the adapter files and all of the software and the exact steps that we use. I cannot get over how much I love that new soldering iron. It's lighter than the Weller pencil by itself, and it doesn't have the big thick cable hanging off the back. And gosh, I'm so happy with it. Absolute 10 out of 10. Best purchase I've made in a very long time. It was only like 25 bucks too. And it just absolutely smokes my desktop Weller. And if you can steal your own shipping labels from your work, then you know, I give you a $20 discount on, you know, any of the repairs that we do. So you could be looking at like a $20 to $30 repair there, easy peasy. But if I've got it, pay me a little more to have me take it apart and replace the stuff that causes issues. Oh, yes, here, I got you. So if you So of course, first you go to my website. You can click on the known issues at the top. That'll take you to the blinking volume buttons. And underneath blinking volume buttons, I've got the link to the restore software and the USB adapter. Put a couple of links in the chat there for you. Yeah, that's a good subwoofer, all right. Now that it's had a chance to air out, smells just fine to me. Alright, this should be significantly less startling. Ooh, okay. We've made it farther there than we did before. Let's let our next repair know that they are next. And after Lummox, we've got Jody, 175.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Alright,
I'm
alright.
having trouble.
Very good. Lummox. Big Mike, yes, my pleasure. Of course, of course. I've made the money I've wanted to make off of them. I think at this point, sharing the files won't impact any more money I'll make off of them, so I figured to heck with it. I'll share it. Nice little Christmas present for you folks. Well, it's a little late, but alright. Lummox. These folks apparently no sound. Unfortunately, yeah, Lummox. I know you said please don't reset or update this one, but I think it's gonna need it one way or another. Huh. Yep, no sound that time. I think it's gonna be restarting to reset itself. Anthony, welcome, welcome. Oh shoot, which one are you? Let's see. Oh, were you G-Pod? I don't believe I've gotten your name yet. Well, anyways, there are two major common issues with the first-gen HomePod. The first one are the 4 filtering capacitors on the amp that are supposed to remove unwanted DC voltage. They decay over time. It's just the beast of, or the nature of the ceramic beast, where they, whether they're being used or not, they age and they go bad. This will lead to death farts and all sorts of base issues with these. It'll roast the subwoofer speaker, and it'll blow up other parts on the amplifier if it's not taken care of. And then you've got no power, which is usually caused by that faulty diode on the amplifier again. Those diodes aren't failing for any other reason than it seems like a bad batch of those diodes, since we only see diodes with certain date codes failing. Alright, so I don't hear nothing coming from this. Let's do a little bit of diagnosis here. It could be a few things. Our amplifier could be shot. Our logic board could be shot. No chance that it's like a speaker issue, because we've got so many different speakers, and every single speaker in the HomePod gets its own dedicated amplifier chip. So it's not going to be a speaker issue itself. It's got to be something else. Like I said, either a logic board or an amplifier board. Probably won't be able to figure it out either way, and we're just going to have to replace the entire component, the whole board. Let's find out. They're not even that old. Yeah, I do say common issues, but that said, in the grand scheme of things, we don't know for sure how many out there are really affected and how many are going to fail in how long. You know, we've fixed give or take about 3,000 and a couple hundred in the 3 years we've been working at it. And then, you know, safely assume a couple thousand more have been fixed with our info. And that's still well under an acceptable number of units that would fail in a mass-produced consumer product like this. If they had 1.5 to 3 million units sold, then you're looking at least 15 to 30,000 HomePods that would have to have issues before you're talking about an actually concerning failure rate. Something abnormal, unacceptable. And they were produced in late 2017, early 2018, I think, somewhere around that time. So that's going on 7 years. So considering it's basically an iPhone 6 with a built-in power supply, a subwoofer and 7 tweeters, an amplifier with dedicated amplifiers for each speaker. Man, today's a day. It's only Wednesday, my dudes. But anyways, for the age and everything that it is, I think these are doing pretty good. We've also got to remember the bathtub, what is it called, like the bathtub curve, where after a product's first release, for the first few years, that's when you're going to see the most number of initial failures. and then it'll kind of flatten out, and it'll taper off for a while, and for a long time you'll see, you know, an acceptable failure rate from various defects and things you didn't catch over time before, towards the end of the device's expected lifespan, you see the exponential increase again in failure rates. And I'm hoping we're not already at the other end of that bathtub curve where it goes back up and we're seeing the end of these things. Because that's kind of really what it's felt like this past few months. The average that we'd get every day, ever since we started fixing these things 3 years ago, a little more than 3 years ago now, we'd only get, it'd be like 2 to 5, if that. Some days we wouldn't have any show up, some days we maybe have 5 or 7 show up. And then it's been pretty consistent like that until about October, November of this year. And it really ramped up around December. And it has only just barely slowed down a little bit by now. And by that I mean 7 to 10 is the average a day now. You know, to me, they are not a pain at all to fix. I quite enjoy working on these. If these were a pain in my butt to fix, I would have quit a long time ago, if not never started offering a service in the first place. I would have kept it all to myself. Oh, of course. I'm just kind of jumping into that, aren't I? Let's see here. I don't actually see any major problems. Alright, here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab another HomePod here. This one does not turn on, but I think it's a logic board issue, because it only pulls 2 watts from the wall, not the usual 4 to 7 that diode usually pulls. So we're going to use this as basically a guinea pig slash, if we need it, we've got a logic board here maybe that we can use. Because I don't know if it's a logic board issue here, or if we're dealing with an amplifier board issue yet. Lummox, glad you could make it. we got yours all the way apart now. What I'm doing is I've got another HomePod here that I'm basically using as a test mule to see what part is causing your issue. Alright, so as I suspected, the problem with this logic board was no power. So I'll stick this into my stash of boards to fix for something else. Okay, so we've got sound out of their logic board with another amplifier, which means we need another amplifier. So we're going to take this HomePod apart the rest of the way and use it for just that. Ooh, you are very lucky, Jason. As far as I'm aware, the HomePod market in Canada is much worse than the market here. So much fewer broken HomePods out there, and when they are for sale, people want too much for them. There are some decent options on eBay right now, and I have had success with offering sellers a reasonable price for broken ones when their original asking price is more than I think it's worth. But I'm apparently right because they send it to me with my offer. Oh, and I do apologize if I outbid some of you on accident. I don't mean to. I just need the parts. I'm so sorry. Well, at least I've got another subwoofer here that I can use. Ooh, that was 2 seconds from getting stripped. I'm gonna take that out before I use it in something else and have a bad time. I'm just gonna stuff that over there. And give me that amplifier. So yeah, these ones with no sound are pretty rare around here. I only get one every few months, and out of those, I've sometimes seen the main controller for the amplifier board, the STM controller, go bad, but this one looks okay. And frankly, I really don't want to spend the time replacing it just to find that out. I would rather spend the time getting another amplifier board that we can refurbish for Lummox here. Instead of fixing an issue I'm unfamiliar with and hoping that I've fixed the root cause. We'll take another amplifier board here that, with an issue that we are familiar with, i.e. nothing actually. This amplifier works just fine. But we are going to give it new filters, because I don't want to get this back for death farts. And we do know that these filters go bad often enough that it is worth the trouble. And the damage that they cause when they go bad, it's really worth it. One that isn't able to connect. What part or where exactly is it failing and not connecting? Because like if it's just saying, like if it's just the voice assistant complaining about not having an internet connection, you just need to reset it and join it to your Wi-Fi. But if you're getting an issue during setup and you can't get it to connect, then it could be a hardware issue, usually on the logic board, or sometimes it's a software issue and you can restore it with the USB adapter. More often than not, it's a hardware issue though. Very nice. Yeah, if you're reading a description for one that's being sold for parts, for all you know, that person got it, was given to it. They were given that HomePod from someone else, and they don't even know how to reset the thing. So it's still trying to connect to the previous owner's the number of broken HomePods I've bought from people, where all I had to do was do a hard reset, tap and hold the top until it beeps 3 times. Man, thankfully I haven't actually, and kind of surprisingly, haven't ever had one show up for repair, where that's all I had to do to fix it. Alright. New filters to prevent bass issues. New diode to prevent no power. That should be One happy amp for one happy HomePod. You don't gotta be that noisy. Nah, no parts pairing, neither in the first gen nor the second gen or the Mini. You are free to swap any part you wish. As far as the whole boards are concerned, you can swap them all around. Now, when you're talking about the logic board, the individual chips on the logic board itself, i.e. the storage chip and the CPU, they are married together. They are programmed to only work for each other. So if the NAND dies or the CPU dies, you can't just replace them without finding a way to reprogram them with the old IDs. Now, people have figured that out for other Apple products, and the iPhone 6, which is the hardware that the HomePod is based on. But unfortunately, there is you need like a tool that's like a couple $100 called a JCID programmer. I think the J15 is the one you're looking for, with the BGA 60 adapter for the iPhone 6 NAND, which again is what the HomePod uses. And I do not have that kind of money at the moment to spend on something like that yet. I'm working on it. Soon. But it's a tough pill to swallow because someone in my Discord server has one, and my understanding was they tried it, and it's not as easy as an iPhone 6. There's something different. So as of right now, it seems maybe possible, but not currently known how to swap around the NAND and CPUs if you need to replace them. But that aside, all of the display, the logic board as a whole, the power supply, the amplifier board, obviously the speakers and everything else, all of that can swap around. The second gen and minis, I haven't seen any of the same failures in, but we have seen a lot of ghost touches or phantom touches. It'll just touch itself a lot. Randomly playing music, triggering the voice assistant, turning the volume up or down. And it's unfortunately a problem that is shared between both the Mini and the second gen. And a few folks speculate it's a firmware issue. I have a feeling it is still a hardware issue. It must be how they designed the touch panel for the second gen. It's a lot like the Mini. I have one right over here. Here's ye old touch panel from a 2nd gen HomePod. It's just a piece of plastic with the ribbon cable for the touch sensor itself. The 1st gen HomePod, the touch sensing and the display are one board. But with the 2nd gen, the touch sensing is its own board and the display is a separate board. And I have a feeling it has something to do with around here that's falling apart and keeping these things from working. Because I can swap a known good touch panel onto a 2nd gen HomePod with touch issues, and it suddenly starts working again. So it definitely screams hardware issue, but correlation isn't always causation. It's possible that a software update caused the firmware controller, or the controller for the touch board, to not respond correctly and start to act up from hardware differences in manufacturing the touch boards themselves. So the touch board may act broken when you put it on a HomePod, but it might just be within spec and the firmware is not calibrated right for it. I don't know. I personally am hard to buy that theory. I think the simplest explanation is just that it's the touch board that's breaking. And the crappy thing about it is you can't just buy another touch board and replace it. So at least with the issues with the 1st gens, most of them can be fixed with off-the-shelf parts and board repair that we've figured out over the years. This one in particular with no sound, maybe not so much, but give me time and I'll figure out what's wrong with it. But touch issues, touch board. You can't fix the touch board. That's just something you have to replace. Unfortunately, it's a really problematic failure, because what it'll do is it'll prevent you from properly resetting it. So when you plug it in, like let's say you go to your home app and you want to sell it, or you move somewhere, or you change your Wi-Fi settings and you need, or for whatever reason you want to reset it. So you open up your home app and you go to your HomePod and you remove it from your home. And you wait a few minutes and it disappears from your home, but the HomePod hasn't reset itself. It's still sitting there pretending like it's still added to your home. So you unplug it from power and you plug it back in and you go to tap and hold the top until it beeps 3 times to reset it, and it won't respond because you've got the touch issue all of a sudden. Or it's 3:30 in the morning. Half an hour ago you only just finally gotten to bed because you were up all night packing for the flight that you have to head out for in an hour. So you're just trying to get a couple of minutes of sleep in. And that dang HomePod decides to touch itself again and full blast Taylor Swift or Apple One Music or whatever they decide to play. Full blast in the middle of the night, out of nowhere. It's quite comedic, but it does get really frustrating eventually. And in a lot of cases, it impacts functionality. So what a lot of people do is they just unplug the touch panel. And you can control it wirelessly and with your voice, but obviously you lose any control over it physically. So All right. Lummox, I do apologize for resetting this, but I won't add it to my home and update it. I'll leave it as is, and hopefully you can just set it back up to your home, and it should repair with the any existing stuff you have there. If not, I do apologize for resetting it, but we had to do what we had to do. Well, all right. That is all fixed up nice and neat. So let's move on to Jody here. Jody number 175. Oh, yes. We already messaged them too. Alright. So this one, yep, it's going to turn on and it's probably not going to sound too good. Oh, that's right, Lummox. You were the one with the funny comment. Hope you don't mind me sharing. Lummox asked when they submitted their HomePod repair. They asked, why are there always more hot dogs than buns? And do cats have ulterior motives? And unfortunately, I don't have answers for either of those. Even though I personally experience both of those on a daily basis. Boy, do I love my hot dogs, but those cats are... they can be weird sometimes.
I'm having trouble connecting to the...
Ooh, that's a pop. That is quite the pop. Okay. Alan is up next. Let's go ahead and shoot Alan a message and let him know. Number 270... Oh, I think... Anthony, is that you? Is that you in the chat? Joking around with me? Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Oh dang, I got them all mixed up. So, we've got Anthony here, but Anthony is not Alan, which, you know, makes sense. But we do have Alan with us here, too. Cool. And, Alan, you will be the lucky last one for today. Unfortunately, we started a little late. And, well, dang it, we're going to run out of time before we can get to Jordan's there. Thankfully, at least Jordan said take our time. So take our time, we're gonna take it. I take what I can get, and I give what I can get. I give what I can give, something like that. I wonder what happened, here. That doesn't look like a cat. But maybe that's what they were talking about with cats and their, ulterior motives. See you later, Jason. Thank you for stopping by. You as well, Anthony. I hope to catch you in another one. Ever had anything jump out of these? I have not. I have never, not a single living or dead that used to be living thing I have ever found inside of one of these, thankfully. It's pretty hard for anything to get inside. I mean, I've never even seen any, any dust on the inside of these. At worst, I've seen the subwoofers get real dusty, but the mesh does a really good job of keeping everything else out. That is really bent up. The box was pretty beat up on the way here too, so I wonder if all that happened from shipping. We will have to investigate. Jody, if this is not what it looked like when you sent it in, I'm happy to deal with the shipping company and make it look nice for you again. That's a good woofer. It has survived. I'm kind of surprised. Quite often when those filters go bad, it kills the woofer too. Oh, we'll see. We'll see how we're doing on time, Alan. Appreciate you giving me the chance, though. We'll see. I might take you up on that. I like to fix as much as I can in one sitting, though, because each one that I don't fix today is another one that I gotta fix tomorrow. And boy, do we got a queue for tomorrow. I'm gonna need some beer for that one. Oh, you know what's great about this screwdriver? It's battery powered. I just leave it plugged in just to give it a teeny tiny bit of extra juice. And I don't care about the battery. I really don't care about the battery. The only time I ever use it is when I'm here at my desk, and I'd rather have it always topped off. Plus, I mean, after all the attempted warranty issues I tried to fix with the manufacturer, I've got like 8 of the things sitting around. There is a new version of it that I need to get my hands on. But I can't justify spending the money on it when this one works just fine. My problem with this one, of course I've got a problem with everything, don't I? But my problem with this screwdriver, and what stops me from giving it a strong recommendation, is the inconsistency. And by that I mean, the first one that I got, awesome. It tackled any HomePod screw I could throw at it. After a few months, the plastics inside broke. So I had to bring... the person that gifted it to me actually bought me 2 of them. So I busted out the spare, and I immediately noticed that the spare was a lot weaker. I could only get like half of the screws that I could normally get out of a HomePod. So I figured maybe I just got a wonky one. So I bought another one. I paid for one. And when I got it, it had the same issue. So I contacted the seller and I let him know, like, hey, I've had these before, and my first one was great, but all these other ones suck. And they said, oh, sorry about that, I'll send you another one, you can keep that one. And I was like, oh, okay. Unfortunately, when I got it, got the replacement for the replacement that I bought, same problem. So I said, screw it. I'll try buying it from a different seller. Maybe there's a whole batch of these out there that are bad. And same problem when I got that one. So I contacted that seller and I tried explaining the whole situation. And you know what they did? They didn't do anything other, they just shipped me another one. They didn't say anything. And it had the same problem. So I was like, what the heck? I started swapping parts around, trying to figure out which part exactly was it that was different between all of these, that was causing this performance difference. And I didn't quite get to figuring it out before I reached out to the manufacturer directly. And I bought one straight from the source. When I got it, wouldn't you have it, same issue. Dang it. Now I'm starting to believe that the first one I got only worked so good as a fluke, and they normally suck this bad. So I let the manufacturer know. What do? They send me 2 more and tell me to keep the first one I bought from them. So I've got like 8 to 10 of these things floating around my house at this point. They all have the same problem except for the very first one that I got. The very, very first one that I got. And I'm ripping my non-existent hair out going, what's different? The manufacturer and none of these sellers, they all claim that they're all the same and they don't understand what's going on. What's going on here? For some reason, it took me that long to finally swap the actual motor itself from the first one into another driver. Boom. I got my power back. Something is different between the motors. I don't know if the first motor I got's just juiced up. It looks the same as the other ones, but there you go. So every 4 to 6 months, the plastic housing inside of this underneath the button breaks, and I just put the motor in another one that I have sitting around. that is why I don't, why I can't really recommend it. As good as it works here on the stream, I would hate for someone to spend the kind of money that those cost to get one that sucks as much as all the other ones I got did. But there is a new version. So when I run out of these ones to cobble together, I'll try my luck on a new one, and fingers crossed they've, well, it's as juiced as this one is, at least. I've actually, excuse me, the hiccups, man, they come and go. I've actually considered buying a tiny little torque meter that can measure the torque output of these screwdrivers, and like doing a whole video on it, and like trying to get the manufacturer to recognize there's a problem, and at least, you know, like I want to have a way to fix it, or like find a different motor that I can buy and like do an off-the-shelf upgrade kind of thing. So like, and here's the thing too. I thought it was the batches too. But they've got the batch numbers and the serial numbers and all of that printed on the boxes. And I managed to get what appears to be the 3 or 4 different batches that they had made at the time. And I got lucky enough that out of all the ones that I got, like 3 or 4 of them were from the exact same batch as the good one that I had. And they all had the same problem. So I'm led to believe it's not a particular batch issue. The only thing I can think of is this one is special. It's very special. My special little screwdriver. You know what I didn't think of? I want to say I looked at the batch numbers on the motors too. I want to say I did, but maybe same. Maybe I tried similar and different batches of screwdriver, but not motors themselves. Yes. It is 5:52. Yes, I think, Alan, I'm going to take you up on that, and we'll put you up first for tomorrow's stream. Hopefully we can start a fair bit earlier than we did today. That sounds a lot better. I don't hear any loud popping. Give it a sec to actually speak to us. I want to hear it.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm having trouble connecting.
All right.
I'm having
No more loud popping. Folks, that is all that we've got the time to fix for here and today. Rest assured we've got more, and we'll always have more to fix for as long as I'm alive and it's legal to fix them. I hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Goodbye.